every Friday, the team at Local Waste presents a little something we call Trash Talk. Yeah, that's right. These are rants and raves submitted to our email inbox, talk@ryanjesperson.com, from real talkers like Clean Sidewalk Brent, who says, in response to Trash Talk last week, I love that they're building off each other here. He says somebody wrote in upset about their neighbor, snow blowing at 6 in the morning. Some of us have to be at work early. Some of us don't want to come home to trampled snow. And if it was out of spite, you would know. Plus, P.S. Pineapple is a delicious pizza topping. That from Clean Sidewalk Brent. This next one is from Allie. Allie says, putting aside the miracle we're living through of having several vaccines approved and available less than a year after the pandemic was declared, while we're at it, let's try the mind-blowing incompetence of this provincial government. I really don't know what's going on right now. Who knows who's going to fall into this high-risk Group 2B category? We need to know. Stress release is important. Is asthma on the list? What about patients with heart valve replacement? Or somebody on blood thinners due to blood clotting issues? Or fibromyalgia? I could go on and on. The lack of information coming from this government's infuriating. While our lives are all dramatically different than they were a year ago, some of us still have responsibilities. We can't drop everything and pivot every time the government decides to share information with we the people. It's frustrating. Every step, every new thing, every change appears to be a reaction to something from this government instead of anticipating next steps. I want more Gretzky-type action and less of whatever the fuck this is. That from Allie. How about this from... Oh boy, I'm nervous about this one. Simon Pierre Poulin writes in, says, Jesperson, I have no idea what your French sounds like, but if you happen to like fancy challenges, here is my trash talk suggestion for this week in French. I do like fancy challenges. If this was Earl Grey tea I was sipping, it would fit better. He says, in Alberta right now, there are waiting lists to send your kid to French immersion and a shortage of French teachers. The Campus Saint-Jean at the University of Alberta, the only place west of Winnipeg where you can get a degree to teach French language. Now, the Kenney government's cut to Campus Saint-Jean is so important that up to 40% of classes offered are in jeopardy. So, the French-Canadian Association of Alberta took the government to court. They asked for $1.2 million in funding, so no programs would disappear. Instead, the UCP gave $1.4 million to cover legal fees to fight it. He says this is purely ideological, resonates very strongly in the French community here at home, from Grand Prairie to Bonnie Doon, but across French-speaking communities in Canada. So, Ryan, here's your assignment. I'm going to do my best, and then I'll translate. C'est bien le but de la marde. S'il existe un politicien albertain qui comprenne amplement bien l'implication de ce geste sonore et méprisant, c'est bien vous qui avez administré au fédéral, qui maîtrisez la langue française et qui comprenez fort bien les enjeux d'une francophonie fragilisée par des décisions préjudiciables comme celle-ci. Quelle honte pour votre gouvernement et quel embarras pour l'Alberta qui, encore une fois, se retrouve à l'écart de la modernité, de la justice et de la valeur canadienne les plus fondamentales. Could you possibly be shittier? Is there one Alberta politician who fully understands the implication of this sly and contemptuous move? It's you, Premier, a former federal minister mastering French so well you do truly understand our francophonie weakened by damaging decisions like yours. What a shame for your government. What an embarrassment for Alberta, which once again finds itself isolated from modernity, justice, and fundamental Canadian values. That from Simon Pierre Poulin. This one from Peter. Peter says, Ryan, I know you've been following and talking about the David and Colette Stefan story. I hate even using their names because I don't want to bring them fame. I don't know if you ever intended on it, but never have them on your show. Never talk about them outside my letter. We need to talk, though, about their son Ezekiel. The poor boy will never be able to live in peace with his death being handled like such a farce. Our injustice system is proving to be that. Ezekiel deserves dignity, respect, accountability. He says, I don't need coffee today, boys. This situation gives me enough fuel to get through the rest of 2021. Signed, a pissed off Peter. And this from C in Calgary. And this one's salty. So earmuffs, kids. C in Calgary says, I fucking hate it when leftists or the left is hated on because I consider myself to be far left. Due to my job, I listen to a lot of podcasts, most of them political. I've listened to every show of yours, Ryan, since the beginning of January. Thank you. Says, I also listened to the people you called dumb fucks the other day. There's a network of shows, but I can say I give them at least 10 hours of your time a month, sometimes more. I didn't love your dumb fucks comment, but I hated what was coming at you more. I feel riled up too. I feel like they're saying I'm a fucking conservative for listening to you, which is the worst thing you could ever call me. It feels like they've never listened to your show and they should shut the fuck up. I saw tweets liked by their media accounts and hosts, ones like, how about we just never talk about that podcast again? It didn't seem like they were being objective in judging your show's content because you worked for Chorus and interviewed Danielle Smith, which, by the way, did not make me conservative. I appreciate the variety of guests you have on your shows. Real Talkers on YouTube have been roasted conservatives. They've roasted the conservatives you've had on, and you've read their comments out loud as they chat. It is so edgy to hate on a show that's actually plugging people into Alberta politics, isn't it? We fucking helped make the government back down on coal mining. Okay, not all the way, but isn't it good to gain a little ground? Shouldn't we keep coming together and having conversations to learn from one another? Ryan, no offense meant by this, but sometimes you're the perfect fool because you learn in real time on your show along with everybody listening. Those moments are like a bridge. What do the haters want? You to shut it all down? Ain't gonna happen. That from C in Calgary. Who's right? We ain't going anywhere. Except for away for the weekend. We're back live Monday, 8:30 Mountain Time, and we'll talk to you then.